Last week, I genuinely wanted to burn my entire business down to the ground. And it was in a very dramatic way. I was tired. I was done. I was exhausted. I didn't know if I was doing the right thing. Like, this isn't working. I had all the thoughts going on. And I genuinely, my brain just woke up on the Thursday morning and said, "You need to go get a job." And I thought, do I? So if you've ever thought that I just can't do this anymore, this is for you because I feel your pain. So when we have this pressure building around our goals, the easiest thing we can do is quit because that brings the relief that we need, the relief that we're looking for. We just want this to stop. We just want this to be easy. And the problem is that we are taught two options. We either push harder or we quit. Now, these aren't necessarily um, like spoken options, but those are the two options that are always sold to us. Try harder. You need to be more motivated, need to be more disciplined. Maybe it's not the goal that you want. Maybe it's not for you. Maybe it's not what you really want deep down. But that I don't believe that that's the case. We all know that we want these goals. We have been trying to reach these goals for years or some version of them. Most of us quit the actual method that we're doing instead of the goal, and we don't even realize that we're doing it. So we want this health goal, but everything that we're doing to reach this goal just feels like a struggle, or it makes us feel worse while we're trying to achieve that goal. So we either push harder and we find something else, find something more challenging, usually, to help us get there, or we just give up until we have recovered enough so that we can start again using the same path that we used before. So these burn it down thoughts aren't about a lack of motivation, a lack of discipline, a lack of not wanting this goal, because we all know that we want the goal. It's usually about safety or that something is missing. How we are approaching this goal is the problem. That's what it is. It's not the goal. It's not us. We're not personally broken. I can't remember what word. We're not perfectly broken, defaulted. No, I'm just going to leave it. But we are not broken because we can't achieve that goal. Usually, it is just this path that we are taking to get there that is the problem. So, hi, I'm Julie, a wellbeing coach and personal trainer, and I am here to help you build habits that fit in your real life, not the fantasy ones that diet culture tries to sell you. This is where we untangle the noise, think what healthy actually means to us, and make changes that feel doable, that feel calm, and that feel genuinely yours. So let's crack on. So when we feel like we want to burn it to the ground, we need and quit, we need to be able to pause long enough to listen to what the problem actually is. Because like I said, the problem actually isn't the goal. It's the approach that we are using to get there. So we have the same goal and we have a similar path. We have a path to get there. Everybody knows what this path is, um, at least to some extent. I will just say that. Bear with me here. I'm downloading as I'm talking. But we have this goal and we have this path that we take. Okay. It's similar sort of path, regardless of which one you take. There are certain steps within those paths that almost like milestones that we reach. They can be different, but it is the same path. The goals stay, but the method that we are using is different. And I will go into this in more detail in a little bit. So nothing that we're doing is ever set in stone. We have the goal and we have this path. Maybe this is the path that we are currently on. Okay. But sometimes it's not this path that we need to be on. There is something missing from this path that is making it feel like a struggle. So we need to take a little bit of a reroute to get there. Doesn't make it any longer, Might make it more enjoyable, who knows? But it's going to stop that stop start cycle that we get stuck on, because we are allowed to get to a certain point and completely change our mind. Nothing's set in stone. You're allowed to redirect yourself without having to start over. I'll say that again. We are allowed to redirect ourselves without having to start over. The goal does not change. The goal might change a smidge just because on that journey or that path, you've learned a little bit more about yourself and about what it is that you want. So this goal changes, maybe a little bit, maybe the wording changes, but the goal doesn't actually change. So if you want to feel good about yourself, you want to feel good about yourself. The method or that path that you're taking is maybe what changes. Because maybe we thought to feel good about ourselves, that required us to lose weight. But as you've worked through some of the things that you've been doing, you've realized it's not actually about weight loss. It's about eating healthy so that I feel good. It's about moving my body so that I feel good. None of that stuff has anything to do with weight loss. So the goal doesn't change. I still want to feel good about myself. The path that I'm taking, the weight loss path, maybe that's changing now. We're going to detour. Okay, how can I change how I eat? How can I change how I move? How do I change how I look after myself? How do I change how I think about the world and my life and how I feel about myself? Those are the things that can be changing. It's not specifically the goal. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. So we need to ask ourselves some questions. What am I actually trying to move towards? What is it that I am actually trying to move towards? Is it that I would like to feel good about myself again? Is it that I want to become, I'm trying to think off the top of my head, want to become a runner? Maybe I would just like some more stability in my habits. I want to be more consistent with these healthy behaviors. Maybe it's to have more energy because you're feeling a little bit sluggish. Or maybe you just want to have peace with food and not have all this drama and noise around it. You want to have a good relationship with food so that it's not just like constant jibber jabber all the time in your head. Maybe that is really this is about. In which case, what is it about that? What is it about what you are doing to achieve this goal? The path that you are taking, what is it about that that is making you want to quit? Because it's not the goal that you want to quit, it's how you're doing it that is what is making you want to quit. What is it that is not helping you reach that goal? And I'll use an example. If you want to have a helpful relationship with food, or maybe a good relationship with food, what are you doing now that is not helping you have a good relationship with food? More rules, maybe? Just, putting it out there. So, um, I will share with you my pivot, my redirect, and then I'll bring it back to you because hopefully it will make a little bit more sense. So, I, like I said, I woke up on that Thursday and my brain just went, Jules, you need to go get a job. Out of, like, I like to say it was out of nowhere. My brain has been telling me that there has been something missing in my work for a while, but I have not necessarily not been listening properly. I have been listening to my brain, which is why I've got all of this kind of stuff that I like, future stuff that I'm planning, so that because I knew that I needed something different. There was something different that I needed to be doing, not different from personal training because that was still there. I just needed something different. I needed growth. I needed to learn something new, whatever. So when my brain says you need to go get a job, I think it was just done. It was done trying to like hustle. It was done trying to kind of make this work. It was just done. But when I sat down and thought about it, when I sat down and, genuinely listened to what my brain was telling me, it was that there was something missing. And I have two very strong values. The first one, which is stronger than the other one, is freedom. And the second one is making a difference. So when I sat there and thought about it, it was like, okay, those two values aren't necessarily being met to the level that I want them to be. They are absolutely being met, but they are not. There is something missing, and it was the making a difference one. There was something missing from it. And my brain was saying, go and find a job because there is something missing from the work that you're doing that isn't satisfying that need to make a difference to the extent that I want it to make, right? It's not to say that I don't make a difference. I think I do. But there is this up level that my brain is wanting to have. And what I was putting into my business wasn't touching that. And I created a bigger personal training program to see if that would sort of like help. It didn't. um, Health coaching online, one-to-one stuff online, that didn't touch it. And it was like, what is it that is missing? So in typical me style, I was just like, fuck it, I'll just go look for a job then, because obviously nothing I'm doing in my business is going to touch that need. So I looked for a job and I found a job. Within 10 minutes, I found a bloody job, which really annoyed me. But what it did was light something up inside me. I could feel that excitement. I could feel that passion. I just thought, yes, that is it. And then got really sad because I was like, oh, I did really want to get a job. But when I sat there and thought about it, it wasn't about the job, because the problem with the job or getting a job is that it actually takes away a lot of my freedom, which is one of my very, very strong core values. And that applies to every single area of my life. As soon as I feel like my freedom is being taken away, I really struggle. That's not to say that I would feel like that about the job, but that certainly comes into it. With not having, I like having my Fridays off. Let's be honest, who doesn't? So, of course, it's going to take away some of my freedom. That's one of the joys in having a job, right? So, that's a consideration. But there was also this making a difference, and that was the biggest draw. It was a job where I was supporting groups of people in a completely different area to what I'm doing now. So there would be new skills to be learning. I would have like making a difference to myself and my learning and my growth. There was all of this stuff going on. And when I sat down and really thought about it, the question wasn't, do I need to get a job? The question is, how do I bring the aspects of the job that I'm looking for into my actual business? Because that's what's missing. It's not somebody else paying with me for me. It's not, you know, um, company benefits, anything like that. It's the work that I'm doing. It's that there was something in that job that I was really drawn to, and it wasn't actually it wasn't the fact that it was a paid job. There was something in there that was just like, yes, Jules, that is so fucking up your street. This is you. This is what you are here to do. So I was like, okay, how do I put that into my work? So I spent 4 whole days rewriting my entire business model so that I could get a clearer picture of what it might look like. It's not set in stone. I'm, you know, the job's not set in stone. My business isn't set in stone. None of it is set in stone. I'm just playing with ideas to see what it is that is going to work. All right. My personal training isn't going anywhere. I will still do that because I enjoy that. But how do I reach this goal, helping people feel good about themselves by ditching the rules and the expectations so they can be independent people and have choices and feel empowered and stand all in this world, all of that stuff. That is still the goal. How I get there, where am I? How I get there, this journey that I'm currently on, needs to be different. So I need to take this detour. So, like I said, instead of totally blowing up my business, which would have been a real big shame because I worked hard on it, I needed to restructure it. It's the same work, it's the same values, but it's a slightly different path. So this wasn't about quitting. My brain was trying to tell me like that something needed to be different. So when you feel like you want to quit, your brain is just telling you that there is a different way to do this. We have to choose a different way so that we can stay on that path to achieving that goal. We're just going to do, excuse me, slightly different things. So let's take this back to you. and your goals. So this applies to health, to food, to movement, to work, to life. If something feels heavy, it doesn't mean that it's wrong for you. It doesn't mean that you're broken. It doesn't mean that you're never going to be able to achieve this goal. It simply means that the path that you are taking is not the one that you should be on to get there. So, like I touched on earlier about our relationship with food, if you want to improve, if you want to have a better relationship with food, what is, what are the things that you're doing to achieve that goal? What do they look like? Do they include having more rules, following somebody else's idea of how you should be eating, what you should be eating? Are you constantly trying to not eat a certain type of food? Are you constantly thinking about the next meal that you're going to have? So your goal is to have a better relationship with food, to stop thinking about it all day, to be able to just eat healthy food and food that is maybe deemed unhelpful for you. Unhelpful, whatever. But it's like you're following this path to improve your relationship with food. But what that path is actually doing for you is taking you further away from that goal because you've got yet another bunch of rules. You've got yet another bunch of food that you can and cannot eat. You aren't thinking for yourself, you're just following what somebody else is telling you to do. None of this is actually helping you improve your relationship with food along the way. Yes, we have the goal, and yes, we have to do steps in order to get up there, but we want those steps that we take to actually help us improve our relationship with food, not take it further away, not feel like when we have all of these rules, we are it does feel like we're not getting any closer to it because every single rule takes you further away from that goal. I just want to have a good relationship with food. I don't want to think about food all day whilst you're depriving yourself of the food that you actually want to have. So you're thinking about that food all day. Does that make sense? So let's talk about exercise. We'll put it into that through that lens. Let's say you want to maybe actually, or in some way, shape, or form, actually enjoy exercise, but the steps that you are taking to get there are just chipping away at that joy over exercise. Perhaps you're doing a exercise class that you know that you should go to, but you really don't enjoy it. So that's why you can't be consistent with it because you're not actually enjoying the process. If we want to achieve that goal, we have to be able to enjoy the process. If I want to be able to achieve my goal of, you know, helping every single woman ditch these rules, diet culture rules, I have to be able to enjoy the process, which is also why I don't talk about weight loss because I don't enjoy that side of it. I'm not against weight loss, I just don't talk about it as a kind of whole topic because I don't enjoy that. So I'm not going to reach that goal if I'm not enjoying that process towards it. Hopefully that makes sense. If it doesn't, just leave me a comment wherever you're watching this and I will clarify anything that doesn't make sense. My brain is literally downloading as I'm saying it. I have notes, but my brain is just processing why I say it. I do better work that way. So let's talk about signs that you might need to take a pivot, not quit, just take that little bit of a detour or a reroute, different direction. You still care about your goal, you're just exhausted. And this was me. I was tired. I was tired of my brain thinking about what is it that I need to do? What is it that I need to do? Maybe I'm just not cut out for this. Maybe I'm just not going to be successful at this because this shouldn't feel as hard as it does. And now I'm applying this to business, my business goals, but that feeling is across the board. If you still want to have that goal, but you just feel so drained by achieving it, you definitely need to think about the process or that path that you're taking to get there. It's not a quit. You don't need to quit. I'm not quitting. I'm just looking at taking a different path, and it's no different for any area of these lives, whether that is a job, whether that's your health or food or movement or just life stuff. It's not completely quitting, it's just trying to find a way that actually makes it worse for you, not worse, better for you. You maybe fantasize about just escaping and not change anything at all. Maybe that was part of what getting a job was. It's like maybe I just want to escape this and just not change anything in my business because actually, do I even have the energy for that? So maybe that's highlighting to you that maybe it's time for you to take a pivot. What helped before is not helping anymore. This comes a lot from diet culture. This comes from age, menopause, hormones, life changes, children. What worked for me when I first started 9 years ago is not how it works for me now. So I need to have a think about it. And even now, what worked for me 3 years ago doesn't work for me now. It's completely different. As soon as my thyroid decided to pack up and leave, everything about what I was doing needed to be changed. I needed to pivot. The goal of feeling good in myself or about myself hasn't changed. The path that I needed to take there exercise wise needed to be different. Didn't quit. It just needed to be different. So maybe there's that there. And you're blaming yourself instead of the path that you're taking. Because a lot of the times I think we think these things are personal failings of ours, but they are not. It's just, coming back to diet culture, it's probably the one that I'm most passionate about. It is that diet culture makes us feel like it's us that's the problem, and it's not. Not every single diet fits in with every single person. Not every single exercise routine works for every single person. Not every single plan that somebody writes up and says, hey, look at me, look at my before picture. This is exactly what I did, and I'm giving it to you so you can achieve the same. You are not that person. It might not work for you. It might do, but it also might not work for you. But we pin our hopes on that. And then when it doesn't work, we take it personally, like, well, it's us that's the problem because look at them, look at all these other people, they managed to achieve it. But you also don't know how many people didn't because they don't share that stuff because that's not very good marketing, is it? When they don't share the, oh, look, you had these 5 people which are on my, you know, on my marketing on my website, these, look at these people, look at these success stories, but what you don't see is all of those people that didn't succeed. Those are the people that we should be paying attention to, because it isn't about you. It's we're trying to put ourselves into boxes of what everybody else is doing instead of thinking, how do I want to do this? What am I capable of doing? How do I even like fucking eating and moving my body? Do I like avocados? Do I not like avocados? Do I like quark or do I just want to eat fucking cream cheese? I don't know. Anyway, stop ranting. So we start blaming ourselves instead of what we are using. So when we are blaming ourselves and we are taking it as a personal thing against us and our capabilities and who we are as a human, then you definitely know that you need to have a pivot. You need to think about the path that you are taking to get there. So if it feels like hard to stay on that path, then you need to just let some of that go. You need to be able to find that different way. Okay, so pivoting is a skill. Learning how to not quit is a skill. Dealing with your own thoughts about that pivot is a skill. Okay, it's like I say this, there's this thing that I say or statement that I say, and it's like, um, failure is just feedback. When we feel like we failed, it's just trying to tell us something about what it is that we do or do not want to do anymore. That is it. That's all it means. So we almost need to see what it is that we are doing, how it's not working, and what can we do differently that is still going to take us to that goal that we want. What the problem we have is that our brains are telling us, one, that we've done all this hard work and what, we're just going to change it? Done all this hard work for your business, all of this money that you've spent on your business, the gym that you've built, all of this, the massage course that I'm still in the process of doing. What, we're just going to burn it all to the ground, are we? Are we really going to do that? So it's a skill to learn how to, ultimately, if it comes down to it, I will drop it all. I actually don't have a problem with that. And that's taken me the weekend to kind of realize I don't have a problem with that. If this isn't what I'm supposed to be doing, then this isn't what I'm supposed to be doing. That's good. And it's good and it's a relief to come from that place. But you have to learn how to get there. You have to trust yourself enough to know that I will get to where it is that I want to be. But maybe, just maybe, there is an easier way. So we have to have this flexibility in it and learning how to pivot, learning how to take a different direction without feeling like a failure, without feeling like that you've wasted all of this time. That is a skill, and it does take practice, and you have to know that, okay, just because I'm taking a step to the side for a minute doesn't mean I'm failed. And even if you have to take one step backwards and start there, it's not a failure. Everything is like almost like a trial and error type situation. We're just deciding, okay, this is working, this isn't. Let's go this way, let's go that way. That's all it is with anything that we need to achieve, anything that we want to achieve. We just backwards and forwards. Is this working? Is this not? Is this working? Is this not? It's very repetitive, but it's a skill because you learn to trust yourself. This is important. We need to learn to trust ourselves, not let everybody else tell us or other people tell us what we should be doing because we are our own like unique person, so we have to decide that for ourselves. um People who reach their goals, they adjust constantly, like I said, backwards and forwards. Is this working? Is this not? We don't white knuckle our way through it. If something is feeling so hard that we can't even do it, let's say 2 3 times a week, we are trying too hard. We are white knuckling our way through that. That's not going to get you to your goal. So what am I offering now? What does my business potentially look like now? Like I said, the personal training is staying. All of my current clients are staying. Nobody's going anywhere. But what is happening is I'm changing the way that I do personal training so that it has a start point and an end point. Because one of my, um, I've got them here, bear with me, my mission statement, and it is to create space for women to make independent choices about the things that they want. It is to have every woman stand tall in the world with confidence. It is to help them become strong both mentally and physically, and it's to make sure that they know they are worthy just as they are. And that has been with me since the Be Free days of my personal training. That has not changed at all, not even the wording. I've not changed it at all. That still stands. That is my mission. So when I'm thinking about personal training, I'm thinking about how can I help people, and this actually includes men, which surprised me as well. How do I help these people be confident with exercise? How do I help them so that they can stand tall, so that they can be independent, so they don't have to rely on people to make decisions for them? So this isn't set out in stone or it's not written into a bigger plan, but it is about helping people be confident with exercise so they do not have to pay for a personal trainer again. And every single marketer and personal training business will tell you that's really bad for business, Jules. You need to have repeat customers. And it's like, actually, do you know what? For me personally, no, I don't. I don't want that. I don't need that. I don't like, um, that's not where it is that I want it to be. And that's personal choice. And like I said, I love my clients and my clients are not going anywhere. But the next step for that is to take it that one step further. And it's a long program. It's a long program because I'm going to teach people everything they need to know. Like everything. I'm basically going to teach them how to be their own personal trainer, which is not what it's called because that's not very sellable. But that is what I'm here to do. I'm not here to teach people one exercise routine to another. That's not what the kind of big picture is. That So the next thing, the one thing that I'm working on right now is not the personal training stuff. It is actually a women's circle. Now, one of the things about this job was a group facilitator, and that was what lit my heart up. It was like, oh yes, that is what you need to do. So I've created a women's circle. It's called Rethinking Healthy. Um, and it is specifically for women, talking about the challenges that we have as women in our life with health, with movement, with eating, with our minds, with our habits, with life stuff. And so it's specifically aimed towards women, but that's that group environment. And it's once a month, just kind of catching up one topic, one question to reflect on and have a different way of thinking about how it is that we're doing things. So think about how we're just talking about pivoting. It's the same thing, but in that group setting. So that's that thing. And then the other one that I have four, but I'm not sure about one of them. So, but these two are linked together. So um it's a online course membership kind of hybrid type thing. So it's a full course that you take, and then you join in with the monthly membership where we just support and we coach, and it's all online. We just support and we coach and we help and we make a difference that way. And that's it. And as part of that, there is a one-to-one like coaching package. It's not included, but it's an optional extra inside of that. But that's nowhere near. I'm not even introducing that yet. I'm doing the women's circle. That's what I'm doing at the moment. But can you see how the goal hasn't changed? How I am approaching, excuse me, how I am approaching the goal has changed. That's the difference. I wanted to quit. I knew that I didn't want to quit. What is it that I need to do different? I will include the details below if you are interested in those two, the Healthy But Human membership and the Women's Circle if you are local to Gosport. Healthy But Human is online, so anyone can join that. Come find me. So you don't need to burn it all down. Remember that, Jules, next time, please. And maybe, I said to my brain afterwards, like, could you not have said that in a different way? Could you not have said, Jules, we need to work with more groups of people? That would have been easier. Would have saved me an entire 4 weekend day of stress. And you don't need to push through it. And you are allowed to change your path and keep this goal, keep your vision. All of this is totally okay. We're doing this to suit our life, not what somebody else thinks. And this is why I don't give people meal plans, is because I think people should eat a certain way. This is what all the books tell me. This is what my qualifications tell me. But that's not helpful, because what is it that you actually like to eat? What do you like to eat? What foods do you enjoy? What don't you like to eat? What do you find boring? What do you feel joyful? What is healthy for you? What is maybe not so healthy for you? It's so personal and it's so unique that you have to decide. So I give you all the information of, balance and all of that stuff, but how you're going to implement that into your life is so unique to you that nobody can actually tell you what it is that you have to do or that you need to do or that you even want to do, which is independent choices about what it is that we want. Like I said, they have not changed in 7 years. They have not changed. So nothing is set in stone, especially when it's no longer supporting you and what you want. So if you want to join Healthy But Human, it is julieridley.com/healthy but human. Like and subscribe, and I will see you all next week.